All right. So it is at the top of the hour. So I think we'll go ahead and get started. If I could get a thumbs up from one out there, make sure you guys can all hear me. Like we're good. Yes. Okay. Just FYI, this call will be recorded so that we can send out the link as well as share it with anyone that wasn't able to attend today that did sign up for this webinar. So one of the things that is really popular nowadays, as we all know, are cameras. They're everywhere, from body cameras to our cell phones, and lots of people are wearing them when they're on the job or even now in their vehicles. Cities have cameras posted at stoplights as well as at the lights that you will see, along the streets. And there's something that we wanted to make sure that everybody is understanding, is that there is a need as well as a lot of really good use cases around why connected dash cameras, why connected DVRs. So we're going to go through some of those things. We're going to go through the cameras. We're going to go through a little bit of the DVRs, and then we're going to go through some use cases that we've actually seen with our existing customers. And yes, they did give us permissions to use their videos. We always ask if it's okay before we use them, and they were gracious enough to let us. So I appreciate their support for us in our endeavors. So really, telematics is very broad, right? So we have this large group of data sets being sent from somewhere, and it's coming over a network, right? Whether that's a cellular network, or let's say it's a Wi-Fi mesh network in a building, and all the devices are collecting data, and it's sending it through that data pipeline. And then that data is being utilized in some actionable way to make it so that that individual or that company can use that data. And they really combine that information and telecommunication into one. So that's what telematics comes from. The most common telematics, and it's the telematics that I have been, offering to my customers for over 15 years, is GPS location. Where is it? And then as time has grown and things have changed, it's where is it, what's it doing, what has it been doing. Now we're starting to get into engine data. Is the seatbelt buckled or unbuckled? Because we can read that from the ECM from some of our OEMs. The other thing is you're looking at it from what type of data am I trying to collect and what data is important to my business. And all of that data that's being collected is getting processed and then put into a user interface. And we're going to talk about that as well. So 47.2 million aftermarket, meaning GPS tracking devices, whether that's an asset tracker or a fleet tracker, or even the little Bluetooth trackers, actually sold globally in 2022. Now that did go up a little bit into 2023 and then increase again, is what they're expecting this year. By the end of 2027, they're expecting that to be 77.6 million devices in the aftermarket space, sending that data over a network, whether that's a mobility network or a Wi-Fi mesh network, whatever that network is. And if you look at Europe, they're at 12.6 million. In North America, we accounted for about 10.9 million. That's going to continue to keep growing. I don't expect it to stop anywhere from, after 2027 to drop off. It's just going to continue to keep growing as we see the definition of telematics transitioning and changing as it has. The video telematics space is now where we've seen it grow in Europe. And we are actually starting to see that now here in North America as well. And it is continuing to now outperform Europe. So in North America, 2022 had 3.9 million video telematics installed out in the vehicles being utilized. By the end of 2027, same projection is slowly growing. It's going to hit 8.8 million in North America. So one of the things that I wanted to make sure is that everybody understands that this is something that is going to continue to keep growing. The space is not going to get small or anything like that. There's going to be more investment into the hardware, into the software. And then what is that data that we're utilizing? How is it able to be used? Is there artificial intelligence? The answer is yes, there is. But what is good data? What is not so good data? And how can that data be utilized? Because we're collecting a lot of data. A lot of data is being sent over the network every second of every day. and what is that data then used for, right? So there's a few ways of looking at the telematics video space or video telematics space. One is not connected cameras. So non-connected cameras could be a digital video recorder that is sitting in a vehicle connected to multiple cameras. And those cameras are actually just taking that data, storing it locally in the vehicle on an SD card. Now, that is really the older way of doing things, right? That was our very first introduction into the video telematics space, was we're just going to store it locally, right? All the buses, school buses, city buses, all had the same solution in place where they had a hard drive with all these cameras that were constantly recording that data. And then they would have to go out to the vehicle, pull out the SD card, put it into a laptop, download it. Even so, when they had to do an update, over the air updates weren't possible. So you had to take your laptop out to the vehicle, plug it in, update your camera system, and put the new firmware on there, put the new profiles on there. So it was a lot more work and it was really cumbersome. Then we went into dash cameras. Obviously, those became more common, and there was an SD card, no mobile chipset again. So everything's being done through that SD card. Everything's being recorded locally. Then we started to get into the Wi-Fi only cameras. So those are cameras that actually do have an SD card that stores all that video and all that data, but you can't access it unless you have a mobile phone or you have a Wi-Fi network that is connecting that device back to your infrastructure, your application, whatever it is where you're trying to look at that data. The benefits of not having a connected camera, obviously, is there's no monthly charge. You're not paying that monthly service to have that data being transmitted over some sort of network. Plus, you can have higher resolution cameras. Higher resolution cameras being the 1440s, the 2Ks, the 4Ks. We all hear those buzzwords all the time. Those are really high resolution cameras, but you're not taking that data and transitioning it anywhere over a network where it's going to cause congestion or not be able to transcribe that data very well because it is such a high resolution image. So then from there, we went to the connected camera, right? The mobile chipset embedded in the hardware itself. All of that data then is able to be streamed remotely, accessed remotely, and turned on remotely. So that's a really important thing, is that we were able to then take all of the amazing things that you could do with a non-connected. Now you can connect that back to some sort of network, and now you'll be able to access that data, some sort of user interface. One of the bigger things that I think is very important is live streaming. Live streaming gives you instantaneous information and what's happening at that exact moment. So you don't have to wait for a video clip, or you don't have to wait till that vehicle comes in, then go out and get that SD card, which can also be very time consuming, or the SD card may not have been seated correctly at the time that this happened, right? There's a lot of things that happen in the field. We know, obviously, these vehicles are being utilized every day. So some of the things that they've made really important for us as a not only camera manufacturer and provider of telematics is how can we go out and check to make sure that all the SD cards are seated properly, right? There's these situations where maybe the SD card is corrupted, right? All those things can cause issues in the field. So one of the things that we really try to focus on is let's look at our customers who needs to really understand the data, not only from a firmware and a hardware, SD card, all those different things that go into making it work, but also how can we make it easier for them? And one of the things that we've really done is try to build up our platform, our application to give you that information right away as it's happening. And then you can make actionable decisions based on the data that you've been able to look at, whether that's a live video feed or if that's something that you requested a clip of from yesterday and you wanted to look at that. So those cloud-based applications that offer the mobile application data to be stored, and then that data is then also able to be accessed remotely is so important. The one thing you do really lose on top of having a monthly service that a lot of people say, I'd rather not have a monthly service, but you're gaining so much by having that, is you also do lose a little bit of the resolution. So traditionally, one camera view on a DVR or on a dual facing dash cam is going to have 1080p, right? That's your high definition. Then your other cameras are going to be 720. And the reason behind that is the packet sizes. So when you're trying to condense and basically smush a packet small enough to be sent over a mobility network, and then once it goes into the environment where it's going to be displayed, it's then got to be unencrypted and opened back up. Well, if you do that with a 4K or a 2K or a 1440, sometimes when you condense that packet down, you send it over and then you put it back, it doesn't quite come out right. So the other issue around that is you have very large data packets, which means more data consumption, more cost, right? So there's a lot of reasons why the 1080 and the 720 are really the traditional cameras you'll see for your connected camera solutions. And I do have a guest speaker today, so I would really like everybody to welcome Eileen. So she's our senior product manager over here, and she's been in this industry for 18 years. She's been developing and managing products. And if you think about OEM, aftermarket, connected car solutions, camera solutions, as well as infotainment, she has been through it all and done it all. So I asked her to come on today and just talk a little bit about the cameras and the solutions that we actually offer. So Eileen, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thanks, Michelle. Hi, everybody. I'm Eileen, as Michelle said, and I will be providing a brief overview of the benefits of AHD cameras and some of our AHD cameras in our current product line. What is AHD? AHD is the acronym for analog high definition. AHD technology allows transmission of high definition signals up to 1080p through analog, which is over coax via RCA cables, for example. It uses advanced signal processing technology and analog modulation technology to convert high-def video signals into analog signals for transmission. Because using this technology, it can achieve lower delay and higher stability. AHD cameras provide the best quality image for data transfer efficiency. Of course, there are higher resolution options, such as 440p, 2K, and 4K. All have sharper and more detailed images. But as Michelle mentioned, they also require more bandwidth for transmission and more storage space, which eventually leads to more cost. AHD cameras provide high definition resolution, improved visibility in low light, and improved color representation and color noise reduction. Color noise is essentially static. It's when the video appears to be grainy, you can see the little lines moving, and that's caused by inadequate lighting, and it makes it difficult for the camera to distinguish colors and contrast, resulting in pixels in the image becoming blended together instead of rendered properly. Our cameras have integrated multiple exposure technology, where the images delivered will be an analysis of the entire scene. So this allows our camera to cover a full range of exposures and still deliver usable images. The high sensitivity pixels reproduced by our cameras allow you to see even the most finite details, ensuring a safer driving experience. On this slide, I will be highlighting 3 of our AHD cameras, all of which are 720p. Starting with our side view AHD camera. This camera is equipped with IRs, has an adjustable lens, and may be mounted on the driver or passenger side of the vehicle. We call this our side view camera, but this camera may be used with its adjustable lens and removable housing. Did I lose you? Are you guys still there? Okay, sorry, I saw it go blank. Our mini AHD wide lens camera has a 165 viewing angle. It has a microphone and also has been tested to be FMVSS 111 compliant. This camera can be used as front or rear facing. It can also be used in low light spaces since it's equipped with IRs, for example, being mounted inside the trailer. Its compact size, which is about 2 by 2 by 2, also allows for more flexibility for mounting options. This camera is also available in white, depending on your application. The last camera I'll be highlighting today is the multi-mount AHD camera. This camera comes with 2 mounts and can be installed for front, rear, or interior viewing. With the interior adhesive bracket, the camera can be installed facing outside the vehicle or inside the cabin. And if you're wanting to install on the exterior of the vehicle, the smaller metal butterfly bracket would be best for that application. We also offer additional HD cameras in our product line for a multitude of applications, so feel free to inquire if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Eileen. So I forgot to mention, as we're going through this, if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. So if you have a question for Eileen about any of the cameras or what we offer, feel free to put those in the chat, and we'll actually try to answer them at the end of the call. And so I wanted to now move on to what do those cameras connect to, because obviously those are just cameras. You have to actually take those devices and connect them to something that will be able to transmit that data, as well as tell the cameras, what are you doing, right? So every camera has to be configured. Every camera has to have something that tells it, I need you to be the front 1080. I need you to be the left, the right. So what we have is 2 options here for a DVR. There's a 4-channel DVR, meaning you can put 1, 2, 3, or 4 cameras all connected to this DVR. It will support all 4 of them. It also has plug and play options, parking mode. Parking mode means it's on 24/7. It is one of those devices that you do have to have a very strong battery if you're going to be having it on 24/7, but it is something that we can always help our customers come up with a solution for. It does have impact motion, GPS tracking, break-in alerts if it does detect motion at night. It's very compact. And when I try to explain to customers the size of this, is it's a little bit bigger than a deck of cards, but not much. So it's kind of small, easily to be put under a seat or in a glove box or up in the dash. There's a lot of places to put this. I usually recommend somewhere where you can get to it and it's accessible by the fleet managers or the owners, so that that actual box, you can pull the SD card out if you need to, or something as downloading an hour-long worth of video, a full trip. You're going to want to pull those SD cards out, and you're going to want to pull that data directly from that SD card, because that's a lot of data that you're going to try to stream over a network. And we're going to talk about that more in a little bit. We also have an 8-channel, so you can do anything from, as I said, 5, 6, 7, or 8 cameras on this. And then it also has a plug and play option. There's parking mode, same thing, impact, and it's not very big as well. What you're seeing there is the lockbox. Both options do have a lockbox with a key, which a lot of our customers do like, because that way the SD card is protected. It is locked in, and it is obviously has a secure, as you can see here, lock on the side. And a lot of these also have indicator lights, right? So you can just look at it really quickly and know that it's on, it's recording. Is it getting its signal? Is there an alarm on? And know that you need to do something right away. Or everything's great, I can see the lights, and you can go on about your day. So all of those things, we built what I would call a easy connected DVR solution. So the reason is because a lot of our customers were asking us, hey, I want to put 1 camera in, but I want to do it on a rear, or I want to put 2 cameras in left and right. And so we came up with a solution that I think is one of the best out there. So we have basically taken the DVR, our camera, and then come up with an easy way to connect them all together. So these are connector harnesses, and we do manufacture connector harnesses. I don't know if a lot of people know that about Stinger, but we have the input harness that makes channel 1 your 1080. Channel 2 is your 720, channel 3, and channel 4 would also be 720. And then you have a connector that makes it from that aircraft over to GX12. And then our GX12 cables come in multitudes of lengths. So you got 6 meters, 10 meters, 15 meters. We have a 30 meter. So depending on the size of the vehicle, we have different lengths of connectors that will work for this application. Then obviously you have your camera. So you would choose which camera it is that you're trying to basically accomplish, whether it's a IR for night. Is it going to be facing out the windshield, so you don't want IR? Does it need audio? Is it going to be in the back? There's so many different applications that we can utilize with this. We also included all the accessories. So all the accessories listed here come in this kit. There's an audio microphone, there's antennas. Obviously, we did want to make sure that our customers had mobile antennas as well. All of that is also stored on an SD card. So a 128 gigabyte SD card comes in it. All that data is then stored there, but you also can access it remotely, as we've talked about. So we'll go into more details around that. We have our dual facing dash cams, right? These are the ones that have been around a lot longer, but they are getting better. They have more technology built into them now. These are connected, meaning they have a mobile chipset. You can send messages directly to the camera itself from the portal saying, hey, call the office. It'll pop up on their display. You can also have phone detection, meaning if the driver picks up their phone and decides, hey, I'm going to make a quick call real quick while they're driving, it will also give them a option. It is optional. We can always turn it off if somebody doesn't want it, but there is a option to have it pop up on the screen with a little red alert saying, hey, you're driving and you have your phone in your hand. It's kind of a reminder to them, man, I better put the phone down. It also sends an alert, notification into the portal so that as a administrator or fleet manager, as an individual who's monitoring someone who shouldn't be driving with a cell phone in their hand, you can always view that video, double check, make sure that they did put it down. Any of those things that you may want to look at. Where were they when they had that phone usage? Were they stopped at a stoplight and then just kept driving? Or were they in a school zone? There's all these different scenarios that the camera will help you decipher. And we also have Wi-Fi hotspot, right? So you need to have an in-vehicle Wi-Fi solution where someone may have laptops, they may have tablets, they may have other devices that require Wi-Fi access. Cameras can now do that. So it's one of those things where there's multitudes of scenarios where you can configure a dash cam to do multitudes of things. The other thing is they have ECM. So this saves in having to buy a fleet tracker because now you're going to be able to talk to the ECM of the vehicle and see if there's any DTC codes. This does do heavy duty and light duty. So the other nice thing about these type of cameras is when you're connected to that ECM, you get that always on. And what I mean by always on, the camera never technically turns off. It only turns off when it detects the battery has gotten to a certain threshold, and we can configure that. Our default is 11.9 volts. If the vehicle it hits 11.9 volts, the camera then turns itself off. That is called rundown protection. And those are some of the really neat things that it can do, but also you can remotely live view this camera at any time. 24 hours a day, you could turn it on and see what's going on. Maybe it's in your yard and you just want to take a look at all the vehicles, see who's in the yard working that day, or detects motion, right? Motion detection is huge. So if you have an alert for a bump at 2 in the morning, you're like, nobody should have been in the yard at 2 in the morning. You can go out and view the video and see what that was. Maybe it was, and this happens a lot, maybe it was an animal, got into the yard and jumped up on the vehicle and moved it. That has happened. We've seen it from deer to raccoons to moose. It does trigger it, but it is something that maybe you want to take a look at. The other nice thing about these is that the data is being transmitted, instant notification of events. So harsh braking, right? Somebody's driving erratically and having speeding alerts, cornering, turning, rapid acceleration. All that data is being collected and sent, and a video is coming with it. So you can take a look at it and make a quick decision. Maybe it's somebody that you need to talk to or take off the road that day because they're having something going on that you maybe not know about. There's so many different scenarios that actually having video and not just data is very powerful. So the other nice thing about this is when you add all these types of features and functionalities together, it brings together what I would call a full solution for a customer. But then you can add on other things like driver ID, right? This is something that we were really excited about, and I think doesn't get enough airtime because it is very neat that you don't have to have a key fob anymore, that you lay on something and then it registers that driver. Now the driver can just scan a QR code in front of the camera because the lens can read it. And then it says, oh, gotcha, and it gives you a check mark. And the driver now knows, yep, I'm registered, I'm driving this vehicle today. You can set this to be trip-based. So every trip somebody has to scan, or once a day they have to scan. So a lot of these different solutions, they're continuing to transition and change. And I can tell you there's new functionality coming next month. I can't quite tell you what it is, but it's very exciting for just this camera alone. So we're always adding to and creating new solutions that we can add into our ecosystem for our customers to make it even better for them. One of the things that I think that a lot of customers don't realize is that all that data is constantly coming in, right? We get terabytes and terabytes of data. And then we process that data into a user interface. Now that user interface could be web-based, right? Easy access from anywhere in the world where you have a computer, browser, and you have internet. Super simple login. Every person can have their own custom user login. You may have people in your organization you don't want to have access to video, but they do need to have access to GPS location and they need to have access to driver behavior. So you can actually turn off video access so they can't see it. But you have other people in your organization that may need to have access to video, but they don't want access to reports, right? They don't want to run reports all day long. They don't want to look at, how many miles somebody drove, but they do want to look at video and they want to look at safety from a safety coach, right? That's one of our big things we offer. Think about that as custom levels of account access, then making sure that those permission levels meet the criteria of that person's position. So you're not giving blanket access to everyone. Now, if it's someone who has a family member that they're monitoring, absolutely. We have a lot of those as well. And they only have 1 or 2 logins and they have full access to everything because, you have 2 people monitoring 1 person or vice versa. It's all customizable, very easy to use, very also easy to access, which is huge and important for any customer that is out there day to day. The other nice thing is when you do, I blurred out a lot of the addresses and the driver's names because, we do over here. You can view all 4 cameras if you have a DVR. You just click on it, hit live remote, turn it on, see what's going on. Where are they? According to GPS, this is the location they're at, but where are they parked exactly? Well, we could turn on the camera really quickly and look. So it gives you that situational awareness of what's going on at that exact moment and it pops up and it's really easy to look at. And you can stream that for up to 60 seconds live. And then it will say, hey, runtime, and you click run again, and it'll turn back on for another 60 seconds. So all of that data also needs to be available on the go, right? Because not everybody's sitting in front of their PC all day long. So I'm very happy to say we did launch a new app this week. We also have already out in the Play Store already out in the Apple Store. Play Store is coming. We're just waiting on Google to launch it. It was submitted at the same time, but Apple launched it first. So all of this is out there to be looked at and downloaded. If you have questions or you want to see a demo of our mobile app, feel free to reach out. And one of the nice things about that is you can actually stream live. So down here on the bottom, there's 2 live views of a truck parked. It's actually Alex. And I can see exactly where he's parked at. I can turn the camera around. I can even turn my phone sideways if I want to see it in large view and take up the whole screen of my phone or my tablet. The other nice thing is event video. So this was a harsh turn. Media success. I only need to watch 20 seconds of it. I know what happened. He was driving a little fast, decided to turn. He does it every morning when he comes into the office. There's a little loop-de-loop in front of our office and he does it every day. So I can hit play and watch it. The other nice thing is if you have a tablet, right? Maybe you want to take it with you when you go on a plane or a trip. You can still access this as long as you have internet connectivity, right? You can still manage your fleet. You can still look at what's going on. You can send messages directly to their display on our dual-facing dash cam. So just because you're not in the office doesn't mean you don't have access to the data and you can still manage your fleet. One of the other things I did want to mention is that we do offer event videos. So I mentioned harsh turn just a minute ago with Alex. And this is something that we are really a proponent of is how do we get that data to you so that you can actually make actionable decisions? So this is an example of one of our product managers. And you want to look at it from just turning it on live maybe because you're like, man, he had a lot of harsh turns today. What's going on? Is he at work? So as you saw, just for a second, it was pixelating because it was turning on the camera remotely and accessing that camera and seeing what's going on. You can remotely turn it around, see what's going on in front of it, or what's going on inside the vehicle. It wasn't in there at that time. But at the same time, you can see each video length here is 20 seconds. Those are automated. We just send you 20 seconds of video, but you can always request additional video by clicking get video or going on that trip and clicking on any breadcrumb and saying, I want that video. It's pretty amazing and very powerful. So another nice thing is when you look at this from what I would call a event. So we had a customer not too long ago was live streaming. The ignition was off on the vehicle. There was no power, but they had the dual facing dash cam. And he said, hey, I need that live video feed. I saw something that I just need to, share with HR. And it's really important. I said, yeah, no problem. You turned it on live, we can get it. So one of the things that a lot of customers do is when they turn on that live stream, they want to capture that video. So some of them will just record their screens. Some will just take pictures, but we're able to go out and grab that video because it's sitting basically in our cloud, and we can just say, hey, yeah, here's the live video feed from that date, that time, and then you can hit play. So, and the reason this was so important, I'm sure you guys will all be able to tell, is this is a driver who is out on the road every day. And they're actually out there driving people around and drinking while on the job. So this type of thing is something we want to help mitigate, right? We want people to know that this is not okay. We're going to capture it on video. They didn't think they were being recorded because the ignition was off. So there's a lot of different scenarios out there, but this is just one of them. And then I have another one here. So I want to talk about do I need more than just one camera, right? I got a dual facing camera. It's inside and out, forward facing and interior. I'm good. Well, this is a collision that I wanted you guys to all watch. So this is just the forward facing camera, nothing else. And you'll see that, yeah, possibly something happened. You saw a little jolt there. I don't know if you guys saw that or not. Wasn't very apparent, but I'm going to replay it so you can see it one more time. There it is. So really hard to tell what exactly happened. So the same exact vehicle, same time, same collision. This is the side and this is the rear. Now we can actually see the rest of the story, as they say, what actually happened, right? Well, this driver unfortunately did not have insurance and did not have a driver's license. So it was a double issue there. But the nice thing about this is that they were able to download the video on the spot. When the police got there, they showed it to them. Cops watched it and go, yep, he's fully at fault, doesn't have insurance, doesn't have a driver's license, and he was under arrest. So it was really easy transaction with the police officers, as well as they took it as evidence. They were able to email that video on the spot to him so he could put it in his report. If you had only gotten the forward facing camera, you wouldn't really be able to tell what happened. But because we have the rear and the side, we're able to see the entire picture of what actually happened. And if you guys want me to play it again, I will, because I know a lot of people, this is important to see the data. And why this person didn't slow down, they weren't paying attention. That was the outcome of it, was they just weren't looking. So all of this stuff is really important, right? All the data coming in, all the UI, the mobile applications, being able to access live view, accessing the videos. But what else can you add on, right? We're always adding on software to help with that data and to help actually, what do I do with the data once I have it, right? So ELD solutions, right? We have a partner that we work with for electronic logging for long distance truck drivers who are actually out there every day. And then we also have maintenance, right? So if you need to keep track of your maintenance records, oil changes, tire rotations, ad hoc things, we have hundreds of maintenance work order options that you can select from for your vehicles, your fleet. You can do it based on hours, miles, time, whatever you need. Then we also have driver behavior reporting that is very in-depth. And the reason we do that is because we really want to target making sure that everybody's out there driving, doing their best at driving every day. And we don't want to have anybody who's out there recklessly driving and not being able to look at that from a standardization. And then we built in Safety Coach, which is coaching for your drivers. So each infraction gets its own unique case ID. That case ID will have the video attached if you have a dash cam. That way you actually have a full view of what happened, and you can have a conversation with the driver saying, hey, I saw you took that turn at 25 miles an hour the other day. The roads were kind of slick. I just want to make sure you're being safe out there, and have a conversation, document it. The next time that happens, say, hey, we talked about this. I bring it up a week ago. And it keeps a record of that, and you can keep it by driver. So it makes it really easy to continue keeping those records and knowing what happened.